It is in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. But I'm glad to be back. What we're going to talk about today is a little quarters coverage, robber coverage, run and pass, and then if we have time, I have some man stuff on here too, but we can just talk about anything you want. First thing I was going to talk about, that we talk about on defense, is we have this stuff hanging up all over the place about loafing to the ball. We run our guys to death if they are loafing to the ball. One thing how we practice is defensively, because the ball is being snapped so quickly now in college football. I'm sure it's coming your way if it's not already. You know, Chip Kelly, he screwed up the whole thing by how fast it's all going now. And so our offensive practice, they're running two huddles at us on defense. We're in one huddle. We're not in any huddle. We're lined up. They're running two huddles as fast as they can go. We got this spring 11 plays in 5 minutes every 5-minute period. So it was kind of crazy. So loafing became a big deal for us, something we really spent a lot of time on. If I can see on film that you change speed at any time in the play, it's a loaf. Obviously sprinting to the ball, getting passed by a teammate. Any guy that gets passed up by another guy on his team, he's loafing. Staying on the ground, that's the one thing when we got to Maryland we really had to spend a lot of time on, is when a guy was on the ground, he was on the ground until the next play. So, that's one that I think really prevents a lot of big plays and really shows what kind of team you're going to be on defense. Turning down a hit, we consider a loaf. If a guy has a chance to blow a guy up, we consider that a loaf. If he doesn't, and then looking back at the kick, that's part of our special teams thing. All of our guys, our special teams coordinator, coaches on defense, all of our special teams guys are on defense, so anywhere we can get the defensive things in there, that's what we try to do. Our robber coverage, a quarters, halves coverage, is really a 9-man front. We're going to play it to stop the run. We're going to screw both of our safeties down in there tight. And we put a little bit of pressure on our corners, I would guess that you would say, because we expect those safeties to be hard run key. We can set our front. You can see up here we have the, I'm sure what happened right there. Go back to where I was at. You can see that we have the front with the shade and the 5 set to the tight end. We can set the front any way we want to. We're playing all field and boundary guys now. So we have a field corner, field safety, field linebacker, field end, field tackle. To the boundary safety, boundary corner, boundary linebacker, boundary end, boundary tackle, and then the mic always goes to the middle. When we started doing that, I was at Oklahoma State. When we were playing there, we were getting all those hurry up. We were playing Mike Leach and all the hurry up stuff at Texas Tech. The thing I coached the linebackers the thing that I didn't like about it when we first went to it was we were talking about, okay, that means a guy, a backer has to be able to be a bubble backer and be a 3 technique or a covered up backer. That was the thing that I was most concerned about, was to teach you for that. It ended up about 4 or 5 days into spring, I felt much better about it. The thing that happened to us because of that, number one, we could get lined up really fast. Number two, tight end trade, shifts, motions, all those things didn't do anything to us. And number three, what it allowed us to do was get our next best linebacker on the field. So we didn't have to say, well, our Mike's injured, we have to bring in our number 2 Mike, and he's not as good as our number 2 Will. It allowed us to get our next best guy in because he had played covered up and he had played on the played in the open end side. So up here, the front set, we set our front tight, we set it split, we set it to the field, we set it to the boundary, we set it with all the zone read stuff, and we'll see some of those plays. We set the nose sometimes to the running back, or we set the nose sometimes away from the running back. If you get a team that's jumping the running back around, then that's not as good. But if you have a way that you want to play the zone read, and you want to get the front set away that you either want the 3 and the 6 technique to the running back, or you want the shade and the 5 to the running back, that allows you to be able to do that. So that's been pretty good for us. In a tight end set, the field safety or the safety to the tight end is what we call a buster alignment. He's C8, so he's be 8 yards deep. This guy here will be 8 yards deep in the C gap. His key is that tight end all the way. That's the only guy he's looking at. The safety away from the tight end, he's in a C8 on the other side, so he'd be C8 here. Any open side guy is reading the tackle. The corners for both sides for us are playing 4 to 7 yards off. To this side, it's called a read it for us. That means, and I'll go through these, but that means 2 or 3 to the flat belong to the Sam, and the field safety is going to rob number 1. Okay? 2's vertical, the field safety is going to take him. That means the corner's got number 1. 2 ducks underneath. We early in my career, early coaching with the guy I was coaching with at Southern Miss, who was an offensive guy, when 2 would duck under, we would send the field safety to number 1. So what he started doing in spring ball and fall camp was ducking him under the linebacker, and the guy would just be running, watching the field safety. As soon as the field safety went to 1, he went vertical, to try to get it. So now our field safety, he's going to hang with number 2, essentially under 2 linebackers. Once he goes under 2 linebackers, then we're just going to zone the corner and try to help the corner late. On the lock side, the corner's manned up on number 1. The Will's manned up on number 2. And the boundary safety, now you can have him do whatever you want. If he gets a pass set, you can have him do whatever you want. Send him to a guy, send him to the hole, send him to the post, whatever you want him to do. Here you can see it's just a split backs formation, kind of gives it who everybody's looking at. The one thing I'll tell you is about this outside backer. He's got 2 or 3 to the flat. This is what he has to, big coaching point. 2 to the flat, he can take him right now. He can jump number 2 right now because the safety's going to number 1. But if 2's vertical and 3's to the flat, he's got to play that back to front because there's nobody to help your corner on the curl of number 1. So if 2's running vertical here, 2 goes vertical, he's going to eat the free safety up. This guy runs a curl, 3 to the flat. You want this guy to sit in this hole before he takes that guy to the flat. 2 to the flat, let him take him right now because the safety's going to 1. You can see the lock call on the backside now. We play alert back there, which means if this guy comes under hard, we're going to let the Will take him and the corner's going to take number 2. That's up to you guys if you want to do that stuff. We have a long time to practice it. It's pretty good. This goes through this. My GA did a better job of this than I thought. I didn't know what was done here. All right, so 2 to the flat, take him. There's the robber on this side right here. The one thing I'll tell you on the corners, and this holds up on everything. When you're playing quarters or any kind of robber coverage, if the offense knows what they're doing, they're going to run posts with number 1 to the field. I had a guy, I coached a guy, some of you might know him, David Duggan. He's a Northeast guy, played at UNH. He did a study on it, on quarters coverage with the corner. When number 1 is 10 yards deep, the corner has to be 14 yards deep at any level. You can put on Pop Warner film when the wideout's at 10, if the corner's at 14, he can handle the post. Put on pro film, if the wideout's at 10, the corner's at 14, he can handle the post. If he's at 13, the guy's running by him every time. So that's something that we spend a lot of time on with our guys, kind of knowing those rules. Here you can see 2's vertical. We're going to handle the smash with the outside backer. That's a smash call or a China, whatever you want to handle it. Field safety's going to make him. He's going to his midpoint. Now for us, the midpoint is 12 yards deep on the bottom of the numbers. I know in the NFL they're 14 yards deep on the bottom of the numbers because of how well the guys can throw the corner out. I don't know for your league if it would be. I don't think it's going to ever be much less than 12 because the corner route's going to be coming in there at 17 most of the time. Here's the one we talked about, 3 to the flat, 2 verticals. So 2's going to get ridden out of there by the safety. 1 is going to be handled by the Sam playing under the curl. This corner is going to be climbing to play because we know he's climbing to play the post. Adjustments, we talked about that one back there. Now, when we get an open number 2, the one reason that you're in quarters coverage is you want guys to play the run. That's why we're in it. The biggest problem we had when we got open number 2s was you can't play a read it call anymore on this Sam because he can't take 2 to the flat and play the run. Because you now know that open number 2s, you're going to get the zone read on that side, right? And number 2 is going to run a bubble. So That's the guy they're looking at, the Sam. They want to know, okay, is he falling in to help on the zone read, or is he going to play the bubble route? That's the reason for the play. So we don't want our Sams to be in any kind of run pass conflict, and that's it. So we go from a read it call to a flip call. A flip call now is the field corner and field safety are both reading number 2, same as they were in a read it call. The only difference is 2 to the flat belongs to the corner by himself, which means now 1 belongs to the safety by himself. The star or the Sam, we call him star because we had to move a guy from DB who thought he was a DB to there, so we'd had enough guys, so we had to change the name, tell him he was a star, so we felt good about the move. But the Sam, he has nothing to do with the run, or with the bubble of 2. Okay, so if you're getting bubble routes, then he has nothing to do with it. Now, the thing that I really like about it, with 2 to the flat is this. When you have the back on this side, you have the back here and they run the zone read and you're going to get him involved in the run, you don't need him on the bubble route. Okay? He can play the run. There's no run pass conflict for that guy. The thing we're going to teach the corner, and I think this is important, number 1 goes behind the line of scrimmage, coming to the flat. The corner needs to play it right now, as fast as he can play it. Or excuse me, number 2 goes behind the line of scrimmage on the bubble. The corner needs to play it as fast as he can so the safety can tell, is number 1 going to block the corner, or is it a dickum play where he's running a route? Okay? If the corner kind of hangs, it allows the safety now, he can't get in either because he can't figure out what number 1's doing with the corner. So number 1 behind the line of, or number 2 behind the line of scrimmage, the corner's got to pull the trigger right now and make number 1 either block him so it frees the safety up to help you on the bubble, or number 1's going to avoid him because it's bubble and go or bubble and slant. Now the safety has a clear read. If number 2 is vertical into the flat, like a slide route, quick out cut, all that kind of stuff, we're going to have the corner buy some time because now we're going to get the slide, curl, all those kinds of things. We're going to have him buy time on number 1 to get the safety over to the curl route. Okay, that's it's been pretty good for us. We've liked it a lot. Now the star's drop now is only off of number 3. 3's to the flat. He's going to same thing back to front, just like he was before. His run pass key now goes from what was number 2 when he was closed now to this tackle. This tackle will tell him what the play is every time. You can see we're in a flip call back here with a closed number 2. The reason for that is this Will linebacker is our A-gap backer. He's in the same run pass conflict. He can't take 2 to the flat. I know some guys try to hang him in here like behind the rock and let him be in the A-gap and let him take 2 to the flat. I don't think you can do that. You're asking the kid, you're asking him to do something he can't do. So when he's in the A-gap here, we make a flip call here. There's just the same call again back and front, so you can see that. Here's the 2 things. Bubble route, corner, pull the trigger, the safety's going to take him right now. He's vertical and out, buy him some time so the safety can get there. 2 goes underneath, 3 to the flat, he belongs to the star. We'd have number 1 vertical with the corner. Again, the big coaching point there would be 10 and 14. This guy, he would make sure that he went under the star, then under the mic before he cut him loose. Okay? And we'll see some of those. In fact, I think I have a play on here where he goes under the Sam and the guy turns his eyes out and the guy goes vertical. If he comes under the Sam and it's vertical, the safety will take him. If he comes under the Sam, under the mic, then he's going to just press out of there, just straight back pedal down the corner to get some help back here. Still a flip call on the other side. 2's in the backfield. We're in that lock it call. I'm going to show you those plays. That's the lock alert we talked about. We teach our corners if 2's coming. We play this in our man-to-man. If you're a one-high safety man-to-man team, we play this a lot as well. If that guy should be on the ball, but if he's coming underneath the backer, we let the backer take him and the corner take number 2 out of the backfield. Because we get so much when we're in our man coverage of this guy. We lost the game at Kansas where this guy blocked the wheel and the running back ran a wheel route and our wheel couldn't get out there on him, and they scored and beat us by a touchdown a couple of years ago. So that's kind of a...
Coach, just talk about, did you change your alignment of your star on your frame when two is attached?
When two is attached, if it's first and second down, which we're playing it a lot, first and second down, he's going to be 3/4 of the way out to number 2, from the tackle to number 2. A lot of guys have talked about you got to get your hands on him and do all that stuff. We're not really worried about getting his hands on the guy anymore. We're shuffling out, trying to get that guy to bubble over him. We don't ever want him to come underneath it, but we're not really worried about getting our hands out on him. I got to figure out why we can't see the whole play. There we go. That brought the whole screen back in, right? Okay, so as you look at this play, as you look at this, they've only got 10. Number 11 is going to be running out here in a second. But this will, boundary corner, boundary safety, they're all in a flip call on these two guys so that we can get that guy back in on the run. Because they're in this formation to get him out so they can run the ball. When this guy comes in over here, okay, we now have a flip call with those three guys. So this guy's reading the tackle, this guy's reading the tackle. These two are reading number 2, these two are reading number 2 on their side. We need all these guys to stop the run. Okay? I don't know how much zone read you guys are seeing. If you're not seeing a lot, you will be this year. I'm sure it's coming. But you need 2 quarterback players. You can't play just 1 quarterback player anymore on the zone read because they're going to get the tackle up on the guy to get him blocked. You're going to have to play it back all the way back to the load option days where you got to have a quarterback inside the load player, and a quarterback outside the load player. So that's what we're trying to do here. We've got 7 on their 5 to make sure that we can get a guy inside and outside the load as we get going here. Okay, so now this guy's reading the tackle. With the back away from him, if this tackle zoned out to him, we would expect that guy to play in that A or that B gap right there. Now, there's a couple things that you can do, because you're going to say to me, I know, okay, you're the tackle coach. I'm this backer that's out of the box, however far out I am. You're going to say I can't get to that B gap, which is that next gap to you. When the back's away from him, no problems, because everything's coming this way if it's zone read. You with me? That thing's going to be running right at him. We're going to see some calls later. We allow these guys, it's been pretty good for us, we've allowed these guys to give that guy right there a reach call. If he thinks, if I'm out here and I think I can't get there, I'm going to tell that defensive end, reach. So when that tackle comes to get him, he's going to step out like he's going to play the 5 technique, and then he's going to rip under and let the guy reach him. And now it's going to knock the ball 1 gap wider. Pretty good, especially because these guys, when they start running that play, we play our edge guys pretty wide. That guy really starts running to get out on the reach block. I mean, he's really going hard. You run the reach call, that guy's going to come underneath and no one's going to touch him. The ball's not going to get out to the back when we make that check. We don't make it very much, but I have some clips of it on here when we get to the run plays. Okay, so now we got, obviously this is great coverage for 4 verts because you've got 4 DBs on 4 verts. These 2 seam players, everybody should have their eyes back. That's the next thing that happened. At one time in my career, we were really matched up hard with our underneath guys in zone coverages, to get everybody, running with routes and all that. The problem is we play so many quarterbacks that can run the ball now. They want you to get your backs turned. So if we're going to turn our backs, we're going to call man-to-man and go get them. Or else we're going to have our guys where they can see back what's happening. So you've got these guys have got to remain inside leverage. Both of these guys, you can see they're not pedaling very hard because they're not really afraid of these guys. The next thing I'll tell you that we do it's been probably the best thing that we've done since I've been coaching is we have on a practice field where our DBs practice. We have a red line painted across the field at 5 yards, at 12 yards, and at 17 yards. Okay? There's no routes in college football other than at those 3 depths. That's it. And I would bet if you turn your tape on, I mean, I with my DBs, I make them tell me all the time, what's the route, what's the depth, what's the depth. All the quick game, when the guy catches it and throws it, used to be called 3-step, now they're in shotgun, so it's just a catch and a throw. Those are all 5-yard routes. Okay? All the timing routes, when he's going to catch it, 2 steps, settle, let it throw, those are all at 12, like the speed cuts, the curls, all those kinds of things. And then the 17 yards is what we call the point of no return. If the guy clears 17, he's going over the top. He's not coming back. We don't have anybody who can throw the 19-yard comebacks and those kinds of things. So once he clears 17. So we practice with our DBs always over the top of those lines so that they know, okay, it takes me this many steps to pedal and I'm at 12. It takes me this, they start to get a little timer in their head. How deep do I need to, how long is it taking me to be at 12? Because I want them where they can drive routes that are at 12 yards deep. I want their shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. I want them hips squared, knees down, all those things. The other thing I don't want them to do is at these, we get all our stutter routes and all that stuff, all the bullcrap stuff is around 8 yards. That's where we see it. There are no routes at 8 yards. So we're trying to get our guys, don't even dick around with the guys at 8 yards. The guy sets his hips down at 8 yards, just keep pedaling because he's coming back out and trying to run by you. So those are kind of some of the coaching points there. So you can see these guys, they're not pedaling very hard because they're off. We start them out with this open number 2. They're supposed to be 10 and 2, 10 off, 2 inside. This guy's a little deeper. Easy play, 4 verts. It would be easier if this guy caught this ball. Now, this guy right here, he's reading this guy. You can see, as we go through this, easy key for both guys that were reading the tackle. I mean, that's an easy deal for them. Okay, now here we are, 3 by 1. You have a couple choices, 3 by 1. This is the offense. When you go to quarters, they're going to go 3 by 1. Okay. The question is, how are you going to handle this guy running vertical? Okay, that's going to be the coaching point. If that guy's running vertical, how's he going to get taken care of? When we play, we're going to play. Those 3 guys are playing flip on those 2. They don't care what the rest of the formation is. They're good. These 3 are playing those 2. This guy's out of your run fit now. You don't need him. Okay? He's too far out, so you can line him up all the way out on 2 if you want to. We play around with that. Okay? To the back side, we're going to play this guy on 3 vertical some. Okay, we're going to put him on 3 vertical. Or we're going to hard corner this guy. When you put him on 3 vertical, that means you got that guy singled up. If they have a better guy than you right there, then that's obviously not the matchup you want. If that's the case, then we're going to play a hard corner there and play a half with him. Now you've got to either carry 3 vertical with the Mike, who's the match on 3 player, or you got to move this safety inside. He's got to become more of a sync player where he's going to play between those 2 guys. You have your choices. This guy right here, the one thing I'll tell you is, and I know this, I've coached with some good offensive guys. This guy, you're going to say, he's got to hit 3 vertical. He's got a long ways to go, coach. Well, they're going to run 4 verts. This guy right here, his aiming point is 2 yards inside the hash mark, 18 yards deep. Okay? They're going to say they got to get the ball up and down between 18 and 22. Okay, that's the depth, 18 to 22. So you want this guy to be able to intersect him, be underneath him at 18 yards on the hash mark. You'll be good. Now you're going to see 4 or 5 plays a year where that guy stays vertical out there and that guy's got to go get him. But for the most part, this guy will run back to him. Okay? We haven't given that throw up too often. The thing that we've been worse on is if this guy gets anxious and presses too hard because these 2 guys are in a walk call and this guy's running vertical and goes underneath and you have no underneath coverage and there's a hole back here. So you want this guy to really settle and let that guy run and let him play underneath that. So we'd be right here. We're in a flip call here. We're in a lock call here. This guy's a free bird player. Okay? Because we're in a flip call, this guy, he doesn't have to worry about 2 going to the flat. He's playing off 3. That's what we talked about here just a minute ago. I think he's a little late on 3. I think if this ball was going to actually get there, that it should be intercepted, 3 should be knocked out. 1 of the 2. Now this guy's reading 2. 2 to the flat. He has number 2. Now you can see they're trying. This right here tells this guy what the play is. He can see that that guy's trying to avoid the corner. You with me? So he knows the guy's going over the top. He knows what the play is. He doesn't have to worry about anything else. This guy, we're telling him he's got to show up outside number 1. He can't come inside and let this guy free release. This guy can't get there. He's got to send him back inside right here. And then this guy's coming back. He's got 3 to the flat. We're in the lock call there, lock call here. Now if you get the quarterback to do this once in a while, it helps your defensive stats. If you just flip one up there. Now, we play this guy, you'll see it both ways as we go through this film. When we're in a lock call on this running back, if they're a non-screen team, we'll play him from depth. Well, he'll actually zone drop and play the guy from 12 yards. If they're a slip screen or a slide out screen where they're going to bring him back into the line of scrimmage and then leak him out or curl him up where they're going to shovel it to him, then we're going to mug the guy like we're in man coverage and he's going to go get it, because if you drop him out there 12 yards, they're going to get someone up on him on the screen. That thing's going to come out the game. But if they're not a screen team, then that guy dropping in the hole back here helps this guy a little bit with this vertical route.
Got that open side safety. Is he a run player in the box? Or
He's a run player in the box. He's the 9th guy in. And what we're going to do, Coach, I'll show you. He's still a tackle key guy for us. Our own offensive coordinator at Southern Miss, he knew our rule and he couldn't get us. He couldn't get that guy. Now you got to spend some time with that guy, reading those tackles. Those guys would come in. They would come in like 2 boundary safeties, guys that played a lot. They would come in early on Monday. We would talk about the tackle a little bit. I would give them the film, and then they would come back and tell me, okay, this is the plays, you know, so that I was sure that they knew what they were doing. But yeah, once you lost this guy out, you got to add that guy back in. Okay, so this is the play we already seen. Okay, now, we're in a flip call here. I think that guy's lined up too deep. I don't know what the down distance is, but we're in a flip call here. You saw in the earlier drawing I had, the running back was over here, so this guy had to be in the A gap, so we were in a flip call on this side. Once the running back moved over, it now just goes to a read it, just like we drew up with the Sam, because we don't need him in that A gap now. There's your A gap backer. There's your B gap backer. Same rules. That guy's still reading that tackle. We need him in the B gap. There's your A gap backer. So these guys are playing read it on this side. These guys are playing flip on this side. 2's vertical, belongs to the safety. He's now just a help player. Stay in the curl until he gets 3 to make him do something. We don't get any 3s. You get 3 on the protection. You see Mike's opening up to the 3. The guy I'll tell you is not good enough is this guy right here. 3's away. 3 away, this guy's got to stay inside too, because the Mike's going to turn his back. So if they were to hold this ball a little longer, you can see they have a chance to make that throw, because he didn't stay inside too. Pretty good on this side out here. Whoops, sorry about that. Okay, 3-by-1 again. What happened here is we were in a blitz. The guys burned the blitz. He checked it. You can see they looked to the sideline. They checked it. If you have a team that's looking to the sideline, you have to be able to do that on defense. I think you can't. You know, if they're gonna look and change the play, you got to be able to. And you don't have to change it every time. You know, you can stay in it if you want, but I think you have to have the ability to do that, which is what happened here. You can see we were getting ready to come after him here. Everybody's crowding down in there. This kid, you know, this guy right here, he burned every blitz we ran for 3 years. He couldn't hold his water. You can see he's the first guy that looks. He knows I'm mad at him already because we've talked about it 1,000 times. Okay, so these guys made the flip call here. We made the lock call here. He's got 3 vertical. We're in the lock call here. This corner's reading 2 short inside, 1 short. You got to take him. There's no way to play this. There's no need for this guy to come out and play the smash route. Now, if 2 is vertical here, the corner would be on his midpoint, and we call that guy out. We're both of them short. You can see this guy's got 3 vertical. I think he's running too hard at it myself, because I think that guy's going to come back to him just like he does. Okay, motion to 3x1. This is the one where I told you this guy came off too early to me. This guy has 3 vertical. This guy's in the flip call. If you watch what happens here, he goes under, number 2 comes under the sand. This guy turns his head and starts to go with 3. This guy's back vertical. We're in trouble there because he doesn't stay with him. He only went under 1 linebacker. That guy should have stayed with him. No question about it. Now here you can see they're trying to slip screen us out. This is why we're playing the guy hard on the lock call, why we're not playing it back to front. If you're playing this thing back to front, which some guys will, they got 2 blockers for 1 guy, we're going to be in trouble out there.
Coach, is you saying splitting the difference between 2 and the tackle?
When it's 2 receivers out there, just 2, we're saying he's 3/4. He's 3/4 of the way from the tackle to number 2. If it's 3x1, he's out of the run front. You can do whatever you want based on the routes. You can put him all the way out on 2 if you want. If you put him all the way on 2, then you got a chance of 2 inside releasing him. You know what I mean? And putting a little bind on the safety. Okay, what's he doing? If you get him, we play him kind of on his inside shoulder when it's 3x1 and still try to send him up over the top. Okay, here it is again. We've got a flip up here and a read it down here again because the back's to the tight end side. Okay, here's the bubble. This is what I'm talking about. This guy's got to pull the trigger right now. Now, you can see that this guy now knows what the play is right now because the corner went quick. This guy can see that guy's, it's a bubble. So we can get him in on the play as well. So he should be running hard. Obviously, nice job by this guy. I don't know, I'll be honest, I don't know how he read it that quick because to me, he's getting a tackle block. I would have expected to see him step down into that B gap. He sees it, he sees what's happening. He's looking through pretty good. We get everyone pretty quickly on this play. This is a kid for us. I don't know if you guys remember, we were at, we played in Central Florida near the end of the season this past year. They were ranked 20th. We beat them. It was the first road win. First top 20 road win in Southern Miss in I don't know how long. And we had 3 defensive players at the nightclub, and they never actually got in the nightclub that night. My phone rang at 1:20. This kid got shot through the chest and right through his spinal cord, out his back. He would have been. He was a guy who would have got drafted this weekend had he been, but he's paraplegic now. Never walked again. They never actually made it into the club, but it's kind of a rough deal. Good player for us. Okay, so that kind of cleans up what I'm talking about with the corner there. Flip call on both sides. Corner should pull the trigger, which he is. Now, this guy can see easily. This guy's not trying to block the corner. I got to cover it. I can't get in. I'm going to let that one go to the corner. This 1-3's coming this way, so he's going to play him. You know, comes out pretty well. Pretty nice job by the. Pretty nice job here by the 3 technique reading this. Because his rule was you don't have a single sack. If you're clean, put your feet in the ground and start running sideways. It must be a screen. So, pretty good by him. Okay, 3x1 again. Now it's with a tight end. Really an easy play for this guy. I think this guy's probably in a little bit too big a hurry. Read it, call up top, 4 birds. This guy has to be careful. See what I was talking about? If this guy lets him come underneath into this zone right here, there's a lot of grass back here. I would like him to be down here and make him come over the top so the quarterback can't see all that big throw right here. You can see we're not afraid of the screen here. That's why this guy's playing off. We play it different every week. Reading the tackle, 3 vertical. Nicely done here on the flip call. He's getting 2 to the flat. 2 belongs to him now. 1 belongs to him. This guy's going to stay in the seam because he doesn't have any worries with 2 to the flat. Obviously, the guy that has the pressure on him is this kid down here. Okay, here's the guy who's playing off at 2. He just pulls the trigger, and that's not really a hard play. I'm not sure what happened there. Trying to see some that look tough. You can see up here, I don't know how well he played it, but you can see the corners coming off of this flat route. That means the safety's going to 1 up there, right here. This safety, he's stepping down to try not to let that guy cross back underneath his face here. We don't want him to cross where he gets in an open throwing lane. Okay, here you go. Here's a good picture of this. You get this guy too wide, he comes underneath, puts a little more pressure on him. He's only under 1 backer. He's got to take him. There's 3 to the flat, belongs to him. This guy's reading off of 3 now. You can see he got a pass key, he checked 3. 3's not vertical, he's gone. He's gone to wherever you want him to go. You want him to sit in the hole, you want him to go to 1, whatever you want him to do, you got all kinds of options with that kid. You know, I don't think you should chase this guy, to be honest with you, because he's not going to be able to get there and help us.
Get teams running 2 and 3 switching on 4 verticals, and now the new down number 2 becomes that closer to the hash.
Yeah, and normally the teams that want to do that, they're going to change their split. You can see their split, and those 2 guys, we call it alert. The guy would just say alert to him, alert him that hey, if we get the switch route, we will switch it. You know, we don't. If they've got normal to wide splits, they won't ever do it because it'll take them too long. They're going to change their splits. And now we teach, anytime we're in an alert situation where 1 and 2 have changed their splits, or 2 and 3 have changed their splits, and the guy's making an alert call, that means whichever guy is vertical to me, that's my number. You know, so if it's the corner and the safety, whichever guy's vertical on the outside belongs to the corner. When it's the safety and the safety, whichever guy's vertical, you know, we're going to play it that way. We haven't really gotten it when they've been in normal splits because it just takes too long to get there. I'll get a couple more of these and then we'll get to the run stuff. So before I run out of time. Okay, here this goes back to the original drawing. You've got the flip call up here with really no chance of a bubble. Okay, 2's on the ball, bubble routes out. It can be hitch screen, but it won't be bubble. Remember, the back's away, so we had to move this linebacker in. He's the A-gap backer now, right? So now we're in a flip call down here as well instead of a read it. We had a couple where he was in a read it. So now this guy's reading for 2 in the flat. These guys are just going to exchange this. You know, it's not really a tough play up there. One thing I'll tell you that we really coach hard with all the tunnel screens. Wherever you are on the field on defense, you get a tunnel screen. Put your feet in the ground and go straight back to the line of scrimmage. Don't come on an angle to the ball. Okay? So if I'm dropping right here and the tunnel screen gets caught out there where those lockers are, I want to put my feet in the ground and go straight back to the line of scrimmage. Okay? If you come on the angle, you're giving all those guys a chance to get on the block and get on you. They can't block you in space for the most part, those linemen. The only way they can block me is if Jim's chasing me and I'm going this way, I'm just going to He's just going to eventually get in my way and keep me from making the play. So we teach our guys, wherever you are, stop and go straight down. Now, what will happen is most of the offensive linemen will just run by. They don't even try to get him. And now, once I clear the lineman, I can bend to the ball. Does that make sense to everybody? It's been a pretty good coaching point for us. So to me, this guy right here, the guy who gets blocked, he's wrong. This guy's going straight, that guy's going straight. If this guy would go straight in, we would have this play dead. Okay? He comes on an angle, so the only guy this guy has a chance to block is this guy who's running sideways, because he's running sideways. Same thing, 2 or 3 on the bubble out to the star. That's an easy play. I'm surprised that they would actually run it, to be honest with you. Okay, here's 3 Bert. Now here's, we talked about this. We're playing this guy back to front. Here's the flip call here. This guy's got 3 vertical coming the other way. Pressure's on your corner now. And if you look, I would bet this route's at 12 yards. That's where they all are. To me, the corner's wrong. I mean, he should be ready to play that thing at 12 yards. Play action. This guy, this is on here. You can just see him bending back for the crosser. Pretty good job by this back of trying to find the crossing route. They will get close to the run cut-ups. Go down. We talked about some of these runs. Any questions pass-wise before we move to the run?
Yes. So that Trick can get 2 receiver side running out of that wonder.
Yep. He's going to the sand. He's going to the star and the mic. Yeah. The walk player only has to vertical release him. Anything hard going underneath, he's going to cut in and let him go. Okay. Now the route that you'll get, if they know what they're doing, is they're going to slide 3 and bring that guy under because it's going to widen the star out. You know what I mean? So now you've got to really work with your mic to get him back down, or that robber safety. You know, somebody to help you with that. We're obviously counting both of these guys in the run fit. We play this. This is how we played it every way you can play it. It depends which guy you want to put it on. If this guy's your better player, you're an I-backs, you can spill the mic and give the ball to him. Okay? If this guy's your better player, then you can box the mic, run the wheel over the top, give the ball to him. You know, it's just which guy do you want to give the ball to. Here we go. This is the. Let's talk about these run fits because this is 3x1 with the back on this side. Okay, you can see we got the 3 technique there. This is now your extra run support player. Okay. We'll play mostly with our 6 technique on the quarterback and let this guy run through. Okay? Which means the mic can run through. Now, you have some options there with the mic. Because if they zone up and the nose gets the field cut, if they run this zone and they don't double him hard, if you just run the mic in the B gap, that guy's going to come off and block him, and the mic's used up. This guy's going to block him, and the nose is going to cut the field, and you've lost your mic. Okay? If the mic steps down and they come off the double team, and the nose can cut the field, you can let this guy fall back and get an extra guy because that gap is really gone. Okay? Is everyone with me? That gap is really gone. Now, some guys don't want to do that. They want to teach the mic, hey, I'm the B-gap player. When the ball's snapped, I'm running through and I get that. That's not wrong. I'm just telling you that you might be able to get him later. Our will is going to run through. If we get this block right there, he's running through. We're putting the rock on the quarterback. There's your extra player. For us, he's the extra quarterback player. Now, the thing that you've got to understand when you play this play to the 3 technique side. Okay? The teams that are good at it, like this used to be the way that everyone went to. When we first started seeing the zone read, everyone said, well, just put the 3 technique there, you'll win every time. What they're going to do is they're going to take the guard and tackle. They're going to double the 3 hard as they can and try to push him out of there. Okay? They're not going to zone up for the will backer. They're going to let the will backer run through, and this guy, when he takes the handoff, is going to bend behind the 3 technique. Okay? So now that rock, he's got a guy bending back and the quarterback. If he's wide enough to play the quarterback, he's too wide to play the bend back. If he's tight enough to play the bend back and the quarterback pulls it, then he's going to get beat. That's why we think you got to have 2 guys there. So we're going to bring this guy down and he's going to make him right. However that rock plays it, he's going to make him right. If the rock stayed in there too tight, the ball went wide, we're going to play it with the safety. If the rock's too wide and they're trying to bend it up underneath it, then we're going to play the safety back up in there.
Excuse me. Is he making him right? Is he reading off him?
Yeah, he's playing off the rock. Yep.
Okay.
He's going to make the rock right. And what we tell the rock now is we've got to squeeze that thing down in there, shoulder square, make it look like you're down in there, arm out, all the things, and you're the quarterback player. But that bend back now is a hard play. They're going to really, if they know what they're doing, they're going to double the 3 hard and try to drive him out of there, create that bend back lane. You've got to be able to. That will eventually, if you start trying to do that to us, we're going to let the rock make the tackle because we're going to make the quarterback bounce out wide, to get there. But yeah, the boundary safety is supposed to make him right. Okay. Here it is, 3 by 1. Now, as you can see, when we play over here, we're going to let this guy punch it over the top and come back and we've got a quarterback inside the load players, the Mike, quarterback outside load players, the Mike, quarterback inside the load players, the Will. And this boundary safety is going to play that A-gap. Okay, now I got some tape of it. Now, again, the boundary safety's choice is now, I don't want that A-gap. We'll let him make a reach call to these defensive linemen and let them both get reached and let the ball go all the way out to the C-gap. Okay? Okay. So here we have a 2-2 set. We're in a flip call on both sides. Both of these guys this guy's reading the tackle, this guy's reading the tackle. If that tackle zones out, he's the B-gap player, he's the A-gap player, he's the extra quarterback player. To me, he's a little late. See that little pause? I think he should have pulled the trigger and knocked the guy out right now. But you can see we'll watch it from the end zone. You can see this gap. You can't even see him on the screen. You can see that gap's coming. There he is right there. Now, obviously, they're going to try to dig him out with this guy, which you can't let happen. That's why he's only 3/4 of the way out there, so that guy can't dig him out. Now, if that guy comes to get him, then obviously it's not a run, it's not a pass. This guy's back in. You can see both. This safety, I think, is playing it better. He's seeing the hard run fit by this guy and getting in there.
Coach, do you play a lot of 2 eyes versus 10 personnel? No.
Yeah. What we're going to do, Coach, is we like to, the guy who's closest to the back, we want him as tight as we can get him. The guy who's away from the back, we like him wide. So those guys, you'll see us, when they change the back, you'll see our D-line shift a little bit.
About 10 minutes, Coach.
10 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So here's the play. I saw everyone rolling their eyes. I knew you were going to. These 2 guys, this is the quarterback outside the load, quarterback inside the load. That guy's the A-gap backer. He's reading this tackle, and he's got 3 vertical. This tackle will make him right. Zone read. He gave a reach call here. This is what we talked about. Now, he made this call. Now, he was a senior. He played a lot for me. He had the choice to make this call. He didn't want that A-gap. He can make a reach call and get these 2 guys reached. Okay? So you can see both of them get reached. So the ball's all the way out to the C-gap. Now, I think he should just keep coming on the banana tackle. I think he flattens out too soon. He should keep coming to get that guy. He should come in here To me, he should stay on this guy's inside shoulder and start to bend like that on the banana tackle, keep the guy going to the sideline. He gives the guy a chance to cut back across his face right there, which I don't think is very good. Guy gains 2 yards, should have been no yards. But if you watch, the reach call went to these 2 guys. They're both going to get reached. And you can see this happens a lot now. That guy's on block. There's the quarterback inside the load player, the quarterback outside the load player. Okay, same thing. He gave a call, we called it 10, he gave it just to 1 guy here. So we got the guy, we have the tackle going in, that's what 10 means. Puts in the B gap. Still, inside the load, outside the load. Okay. He's on the tackle key, but he's still reading 3, right? So he gets a pass set here, but 3 is still his key. You can see he starts to drop. We get him back in pretty quickly. This guy does a nice job. His rule is in pass now, remember 3's away, he's got to stay inside 2. You can see he's trying to work to get inside 2. Both of these guys see this as a pass play. Tackle key sees the pass set. His next key is 3. 3's coming to get the ball. He gets back in. And you can see he's quite a ways out here, and it's a pass set, and we still get him here fairly quickly to play the run. Okay, this is a tech stunt quarterback draw look. You can see what happens to this guy. He gets the pass set on the quarterback draw. He starts to 3, comes back because 3's flat. You know, really, they would put a little more pressure on us at 3-man vertical right there. Put some pressure on the safety to get out. We were in this stunt for this play. Okay, here's the tackle key by this kid. You know, so you can move it wherever you want. You know, we don't think you have to move. Our hash marks are a little closer to the middle than yours, right? So, I mean, for your guys, I don't think the guy into the boundary would have to move hardly at all out of the box, but he's got an easy key here on the tackle. You know, I mean, that's, look, you can't get easier than that for him. Backs away, tackle turns out, just come on. But he can't do that if he also has to handle 2 to the flat. You know, he has no chance to do that. Okay, this is what we call a run-through technique. This is, we talked about it early on the drawing. If we have the 3 and the 6 to the running back, we're going to allow the will to run through. Okay? As soon as he gets the movement, he's gone. Now what happens is when you start letting guys fall back, like you saw us do a couple times before, and then the guy doesn't fall back, these guys, they can't figure out when to come off the double team. So there's the quarterback player. There's the run-through player. This is what I'm talking about with your mic. This guy technically is the B-gap player, right? He's not wrong if he runs in there and makes the play. The question is, do you want him to run in there when that guy's going to get the field cut? I mean, it's you know, to me, it's a catch-22. We argue about it at least once a week, whether or not the guy should run in there or not. Okay. This guy to me, he's our backup star. He's a little late. He's reading the tackle. He's the B gap. This guy's the A gap because we've moved him outside in the read it call. See if I can get it. Okay. He's the A gap backer. He's the B gap backer. This guy that's kind of out here in this locker because this guy had to move outside. So he's gonna punch back. Now, you could line him up right there. I don't like to line him up right there because I want them to zone out like he's the B-gap backer. You can see he's trying to move. He's moved out to clean up his read. Okay, this shows you what we're expecting from the safety here. This guy blocks down. We're telling this guy he always has to make him right. Any outside play, however this guy fits it, he's right. You have to make him, you have to fix it. Now what happens is he reads the tackle and comes in a little too tight. This guy blocks down, which means this guy has to be the edge of the defense. Now, if this guy blocked him, he would have to become the edge of the defense. Pretty good play here by 26. He's a little, he maybe could have came in a little tighter and started to banana that thing. He's giving the guy a little bit of a chance to you know, cut that thing back. Okay, now we're playing with him in the B, him in the A. He's the quarterback player. But you have the same thing here. This is what I worry about when you end up with one quarterback player. This guy really is in a bind because he's got a bend back and the quarterback player. You with me? That's why I think you need to fall guys back or get a safety, get someone in there. Because this guy, to me, he's in a bind. I mean, if he stays out here and takes the quarterback and that guy turns that thing up the seam right there, you couldn't tell that kid he was wrong. He was a quarterback player, right? Okay, good job by the safety. Split zone. This guy should spill the first puller. This backer should spill the next puller. He's a little too wide. This guy should be the edge of the defense. He's your ninth guy, 3-by-1. Again, he's getting see right here, he's getting a real clean read right there. Now this guy, he's the edge of the defense because number 2, the star, is getting blocked down on. He should be coming to cut the field right now. To me, he makes it a little hairy. He makes the play, but it's a little hairy to me. Okay, so he should spill the first puller. He should spill the next puller. He should be on the edge of the defense. He's a little too wide, 22. You can see 8's going to make him right though. You know, he's used to that. That's his job. You got to make the guys in front of you right.
We got to wrap up, Coach.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it.